Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Strange Orphan podcast. I'm your host, Laura Steinell. Happy Chinese New Year. Happy Lunar New Year, guys. We're in the year of the horse. We did it. We're trotting. We're galloping. I don't know if I'm galloping yet. I might just be doing a little pony trot. That's how I feel today. But yeah, did you shed? Did you shed 2025? Does it feel like it's just a faint whisper in the wind? I don't know. I didn't wear any red. I didn't wear red today. I didn't wear red today because I've become incredibly superstitious, by the way, and it's something I need to kind of watch because, well, I read that because we've entered the year of the fire horse, somebody online said because it's the fire horse, you don't want to overdo the red or it's just too much chi, it's too much intensity. So I only wore red socks. I'm tapering it down. I don't know. I gotta watch my intake of superstition. In gross and shaky times, I've really relied on superstition, probably a bit too much. Probably to an extent that feels like a crazy character in a bad short story. What is the spiritual significance of quail? So anyway, I hope y'all shed 2025 away and you're ready to take off into 2026. I feel like I have been shedding for much longer than 1 year. I feel like I've been shedding since I feel like I came onto this planet to shed. Let's be honest. I've been shed against my will. The past 3 years have been a shed fest. I would like to stop shedding and start gaining. I'd like to go in the other direction, please. There's nothing left to lose. I'd like to start building a foundation. It's all been taken away. I think this week we should talk about foundational collapse and what happens when you go through a life collapse. Because some of us have really shed hard. And what do you do when you've had to go through that? I think when you divorce your family, no one tells you that your life might fall apart. That life that you are currently in might just poof, be gone. And there's no guidebooks for that journey. There's no owner's manuals. There's no survival guides for life collapse. I've looked. So yeah, I thought this week we could talk about how to make your life collapse count for something, how to make your pummeling count. Strap on your life vest. Talk about superstition. All I had to survive on when my life started to collapse were Instagram tarot readers. Obviously horoscopes were involved, but I was going deeper than that. I was going off the train. I was Instagram tarot readers, big time. Oh, spirit numbers through the roof. I was looking at license plates. I was losing it. And then spiritual significance of insects and birds, anything I could find. Sometimes I would just buy stamps for no reason at all, just because it felt like something official, something tangible. So yeah, I think what's really hard about life collapse is there aren't a lot of it's the groundlessness, it's the untetheredness that you experience, that you go through. What do you do when life completely falls apart? And then anything online that you look at, it's obviously it's just a bunch of ding-dongs who are talking in platitudes. I don't know why life collapse needs to come with so many alliterations and cute little phrases like the karmic cookie crumble, or Your new life will cost you your old one. Yeah, okay. But like, could we not catchphrase the shit out of my entire life turning to dust? You're gonna rise from the ashes. The alchemical process. They glamorize it. It's like a Charlie XCX music video. But it's not when you're living it. It's not when you're living it. When you're living through it, it feels like one of those pictures of like people that have just survived like an earthquake in Hawaii or something, and it's just like a distant face, like a person still in shock, like stumbling through stones and like earthquake wreckage, like looking for a missing limb. That's what it feels like. It doesn't feel like a phoenix rising from it doesn't feel like Ben Affleck's back tattoo. It feels like just a bunch of cinder blocks and an arm poking through. It's not funny. So yeah, I thought I should maybe go through my story of life collapse. For all you sadists out there, I still feel like somebody who's like stumbling out of the wreckage. It's been like 3 years and I still feel like, huh? Like I'm just barely piecing together fragmented images and trying to put them on a timeline. So, as many of you know, I explained in a former episode that I like went through this sort of manic approach to grief, and I packed up my apartment and moved to a different country. And I had been in London for 3 years and loved it. I had like set up a little flat. It was really cute. And then I was like just a couple weeks away, maybe I think I was literally just 1 week away from directing a TV pilot that I had written and sold to a British network. And it was like my days were smug and bright. I was like a croissant eating member of society, going to meetings, going to production meetings and talking to actresses. And it was all the like juicy, fun, creative, joyous. Like when you're throwing all the creative faces at the wall and saying, what about this? What about this? I was in like hog heaven for creatives. I was right about to have my own show. It was like dream come true city. And I remember I had interviewed a costume director on a Monday. And then that weekend I went to Paris to reset my visa. And by the time I had come back over the weekend, by like on Sunday night, on Monday, the production company was like, we don't look like we're a ghost show anymore. And we have to pull your visa. We had evidently run into casting issues where there was a discrepancy between who we could get to play the main character, who we wanted to play the main character, and who the network wanted to play the main character. And then there was no one in that Venn diagram. So, yeah, we just got shut down over cast. Like, it came out of nowhere, just like crazy casting issue. To say I was devastated was like, that isn't even the word because I don't think I let the reality sink in. I was like, okay, but then we're going to fix this, right? I was I was like a Joe Didion character. I was like in magical thinking land. I remember the visa, it was a series of dominoes that kept falling and I didn't get it. Like my visa got revoked, which means then my flat in London, I could no longer lease my flat because I no longer had a visa. So then my flat was gone, which means I had to sell a lot of my belongings because I had to leave the country. And then shortly after, I lost my income because I could no longer work in the city, in the country. I lost my UK agent. I lost my American agents. I then would proceed to lose my accountant, some friends, where I had been living, obviously, and then even more family than I than I thought possible that I could lose. When I say that like everything was gone, I'm not exaggerating. It was almost as if I was ejected out of my physical reality in London, and then I didn't know where to go. I just remember, like, I was so in shock. I put things in storage, thinking like, well, this will get sorted out. And then I had nowhere to go, and so I had nowhere to go. That was the hardest part. I remember standing in the airport trying to get my dog out of the UK, because you can't fly with a dog in cabin out of the UK or into the UK. It's a whole faff. And I remember I had to sleep overnight in the airport in a hotel room. I'm not a savage. But I was just crying, because I was like, not only was it hard to get out of the country now, but I didn't know where to go on the other side when I landed. So I just like a person getting ejected out of war, I just, like, looking at a map of the United States, I was like, the middle. And I just picked Texas. I had been to Austin briefly for a South by like 5 years earlier, many years earlier. And I was like, they were nice to me there. Thinking I could just go drown my sorrows in a bowl of queso, I guess. But yeah, it was so hard. Like, and then it only got worse. It was like, I got to Texas and I wound up in this sort of infernal neighborhood that, to call it a neighborhood in Austin is generous. It was on the outskirts of Austin. I hadn't seen it before I had agreed to the lease. I think a real estate agent showed me it over FaceTime over the phone. And I was like, okay, sure. I think I signed the lease while flying over the Atlantic or something. But I got there and the neighborhood was pretty dicey. The neighborhood had 2 dollar stores within a 4-block radius from one another. If you know anything about dollar stores, you know that living near one is bad. Imagine living near 2. I would look out my window in the morning with a cup of coffee and watch someone like getting arrested in the middle of the street with no shoes on. It was just constant. It was like a narcotics corner. It was crazy. The only thing I could walk to was a golf course that didn't really resemble a golf course. It looked more like a park, and then there was a library that I could walk to, which I did. I walked to the library frequently to read books on spirituality and to sort of like watch. I guess I just watched homeless people trying to put their lives back together at the computers, hoping I could glean something from them, I guess. It wasn't a stable period of time. It felt like a shitty magician had messed up his tablecloth trick and pulled the table, and like nothing remained on the table. Like everything was ripped off. It was not a good. And this was 3 years ago, and I was rocked. I still don't feel normal. Like, I'm just now beginning to come back to a state of like and there's your answer. Evidently, you can have brain fog for a really long time after periods of stress. I didn't know stress can give you brain fog. Evidently, you can get terrible stress from brain fog. Didn't know that. I'm lucky I still have adrenals. I got really into Chinese medicine in this whole experience. I started getting acupuncture because it really helped move a lot of like stuck energy in my body. I was also giving myself like at-home exorcisms. So, go figure. But overall, it was such a jarring experience. When your foundations are ripped away, like what do you become? Like who are you when everything that you relied on for structure and stability and even just like a sense of self is suddenly ripped away? And you have no one, you're on your own. You have no one to turn to. You have nowhere to go back to. You are just like plunked in the wilderness by yourself with no support. What do? Like, it's hard. It's really hard. And I didn't get it. I thought, this will tell you about my brain. I thought I had done something wrong. Like, I thought it was like a punishment for, I thought I had messed something up or flown too close to the sun. I thought the way to get out of it was to work even harder. That, like, work had always been my survival strategy growing up. Like, it was like, no, just work harder, just hustle harder. Like, you can fix this. And no, it was the working, it was the over hustling that had gotten me here. It was exactly the opposite that was being asked of me. Like, this wasn't one of those situations that was like, just try one more time. This wasn't like a Wayne Gretzky moment. This was like, no, the universe has taken away all of your crayons and all of your exit strategies. I want you to sit here. I want you to not go anywhere. I didn't like that. People like to use this cushy word, surrender. Yeah, no. Surrender should be used in certain circumstances, like when you're getting a massage, when you're doing a yoga position, surrender into it. Surrender should not be used in a complete state of devastation when your life has been chucked out the side of a moving train. Surrender is not applicable there. Surrender for a child that learned to survive their original home by always having a plan, always having a strategy, by being vigilant. Surrender is a nightmare. It's like asking you to take off all of your armor and lay down and let the universe have its way with you. Surrender is like kissing death. Surrender is like death's cousin, where, like, you don't know how long he's going to be there. You don't know when he'll leave. His shit is everywhere. Because what's really happening with surrender, it's not like lean into this. It's like, no. I'm going to take away everything that you've formerly relied on to save yourself and chuck it, and it's gone. And now I'm going to ask you to, like, sit in this deep, dark well of your own abandonment. Like, all the junk that I ran from before I went to London, it was still waiting for me. It was waiting right there with open arms. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't go away per our request. And everything gets stripped away so you'll face it. It's like the primordial heartache of forever alone that you now have to face. And you don't know how long you're going to be in it. Oof. I was just like sleeping on a mattress on a floor in Texas, asking myself over and over again, how did I get here? How did I get here? If I really think about it, it's like my show in London wasn't just something I loved. It was also what was going to get me love. It was also the promise of accolades and success that was going to get me love. It was a lot of ego too. And so if that's where you've learned to acquire love, from your external successes, those are going to get taken away until you learn that that's not where love comes from. And it's really fascinating because if I look back at when my movie came out in 2018, I directed a movie called Family, LOL, and it came out in theaters, and I had such high hopes for it, and it didn't, no one saw it. And that kind of devastated me in a way. I ran off to Denmark. But there was a moment there where I could have learned the lesson, which was that I had put my worth in an external source of validation. And I lost contact with my family at that time. ironically. And there was this really pivotal window where I could have sat in it and I could have learned the lesson. And instead, I went to London. And I think these lessons are just waiting for us. They're waiting for us. They're not going to go anywhere. So, like, yeah, of course, my show was yanked. I hadn't learned the lesson. That's not where you get love. Yeah, maybe we should listen the first time. It'll save us a lot in international taxes. Woof. And what's really hard is like sometimes you can have everything stripped away when you still really enjoy it. Like I loved my career and my job in London. I loved having a show. Like the fact that it was taken away felt so cruel and punishing. It's easy to lose a career that was draining you and that feels toxic. It's much harder. It's much harder to lose something that you still loved, that still brought you joy. And what's worse is that in this period that I had to sit in, I lost my creativity as well. It was like lights out on that. And I believe that's because my creativity was always an escape route for me. It was always a way to vicariously experience my grief and my emotions through a character or like through a story lens, but I didn't have to take it on firsthand. And I think that was an escape route that was basically closed off. All escape routes get closed off. You have to face this thing that you haven't faced, because if you don't face it now, it'll just be waiting for you up the road. But I also have a theory that like these rug pulls happen when our soul is not going in the same direction as our self. Brene Brown talks about this a lot. Like when you're not using your gifts, the universe shakes you up to kind of pull you back onto course. Sometimes things are just taken away because they no longer align with the direction our soul is going in, which is really hard to see in the moment you're in. You can't. But if I look at my life now and I look at my life back then, it's almost like something preemptively knew that having a show wouldn't make me happy down the road. And by reorchestrating some things very drastically and violently, this could get me back on a path that would lead me to greater happiness down the road. That's not something you are aware of when it's happening to you. It just feels like you're being devastated when it's happening. I didn't know my values were changing. I didn't know where I was heading spiritually and emotionally, but some greater force did. And I think that's pretty cool. But it doesn't help you when you're in it. Like the problem is, what do you do in the meantime, right? When you're between selves, you're just sort of like existing as a non-person. It's so uncomfortable. And you're like dying these ego deaths continuously over and over again. It was like an ego clearance sale. Just like constant shedding of what I thought I needed to be loved, to have protection. And then also you're like kind of acknowledging that there's nothing there anymore. Like all the doors are shut. There's nothing to go back to. I couldn't even go back to my old life if I wanted to. There was a writer's strike in Los Angeles at the time, so there's no way to make any money. You just are forced to sit. And I think that's why, like in the Bible, it says like, be still. Because it's only in that stillness that we can be formed into something new. I remember sitting in my backyard, like I was at the depths of lostness. I didn't think I was coming back. And I just remember praying, like, please give me a second chance at life. Like, please give me some, because I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know what my life was going to become. I didn't see any forward path. I didn't see any route forward. And I just remember watching like caterpillars nestling into their cocoons. And I got really into studying caterpillars and butterflies, and apparently didn't know this. But evidently, if you were to cut open a caterpillar while it's in its alchemical stage, according to their DNA, there's nothing in that DNA that would entail or indicate that it's going to become a butterfly. It just reads as mush. It reads as nothing. It reads as this thing has died. So if you think about how incredible there is some sort of design at play that can take something that's just mush and turn it into a butterfly. Like there was nothing about me that said second act. Nothing. It's like the divine intelligence that knows how to, like when a mom is pregnant with a fetus, she's not sitting on the couch focusing on making a nose. Like when we've been collapsed, when we've had everything taken away, we need to be still because there's something at play that we can't see that's working with our mush. It's only when I took my hands off the wheel that alchemy was able to happen, when I stopped trying to find the next job and contact this person and get pulled in. No, it's like I had to just allow everything to go, and I had to allow myself to become nothing. And putting down all that armor is really tough. But it's only through that complete surrender that we can even become something new or get the glimmers of downloads of what the new path will be. It's like that Rumi quote, the universe meets you at the depths of your surrender, not the height of your struggle. At that time, I was also living next to to just put more sprinkles on a already chaotic cupcake of a neighborhood. I was living next to a domestic abuse facility, apartment complex. So it was like, while I'm dealing with the wounds of my childhood, of all my abandonment issues, I'm living next to these poor children that are, playing on a tiny outdoor swing set, and the screaming that's going on and the fighting that's going on in the streets. You forget that although it looks awful and it looks like traumatizing, you forget that chaos is actually a starting point for them. Like we forget that it first is destruction and then chaos and then recreation. Like chaos precedes creation in the order of the cosmos. We forget that. Like we can't see, we just see chaos and we think that it's all is bad. But you can't always see how things are working out. My newest obsession is watching those YouTube videos of like couples that have bought homes in Europe that they're going to rebuild and redesign. It's always like a British couple sitting on top of like a pile of bricks, like a literal ruin. You just see like stones, like a perimeter of stones that vaguely resembles a house with like grass sprouting up from all of it. And they're like, we bought a home. It's like, there's no home here. There's no house at all. You just have old stones. You have ruins. But they have a vision and they're pumped and they're cheersing their Prosecco. It's always like a very like passionate, excited woman and like a very wary looking man who's like tallying up the budget in his head. But my point is, sometimes you have to have patience while your life is just a pile of bricks. And more importantly, you have to look forward and not look back. Like, destruction is never asking you to recreate what was destroyed. It's never asking you to go back to your original foundation. The reason that it collapsed was because it was a foundation that was not stable to begin with. the destruction was just helping you out. It was just expediting what was necessary so that you could build on something stronger and more sturdy, something that could hold an actual life. It's such a funny paradox because it's like, this is what happens to strange orphans, but ironically, we're the least likely to trust the process because of what we were raised into. Like, there's a lot of sociologists that say that your brain tends to see God the way you perceived your meanest parent to be. So if you had a cruel, punishing parent, that's how you view God. If you had an absent parent, you don't think God exists. And so it's just so ironic that, like, we're not only crumbled, we're asked to, like, completely change our perspective on the universe as well. So what is a person to do if you've been collapsed? If you've been shed in 2025, if you've shed too hard, if you've been shed against your will, my love is with you. I would say some meager advice. Let the collapse happen. If the universe wants to collapse it, let it happen. Stop trying to fix and stabilize what's collapsing and focus on your nervous system and stabilizing yourself. It's sort of like as above, so below. Like, if you internally can stabilize yourself, usually your external situation will stabilize itself as well. But if you're chaotic and you're trying to fix and solve and keep walls up that want to come down, you're just going to have more chaos. You kind of have to let the chips fall where they want to fall. The worst thing you could do is staying busy in this time frame. A lot of times people like to say, you can't miss what's meant for you. And I'm like, yeah, you can. If you're too busy and you're too focused on what you think your right path is, and you're not really listening to what the universe is trying to take away from you or tell you, if you're not listening, you may miss the next download. You can easily miss the next download. You can miss what God has in store for you if you're not still. And I would also say, like, stop blaming yourself. That might be the biggest one, is that you didn't do anything wrong. Like, you didn't cause this. You haven't been bad. We're so ready to blame ourselves. And that's so silly. Like, things that have to go will go, whether you like it or not. But don't blame yourself. None of this is a punishment. It's usually preparing you for, like, what your soul came here to do. And yeah, like, all the platitudes are true. Like, life happens for us, not to us. So the more you can reframe your mind into a state of receiving the message without it being a punishment, you can really come out of this faster and with a better sense of buoyancy than I did. I think I prolonged my period of shakeup because I had all the wrong mentalities, like that I had to fix it, that it was a punishment, that things were happening to me. No, that's all false. Like, just, if you can reframe this as it's all for my benefit, it just hurts right now, you'll come out so much stronger and you'll come out so much faster. But yeah, all that is to say, next week we're really getting into the good stuff. We're gonna gallop along because now we're into 2026, and I think I'm done talking about being rocked for a little while. Also, if you feel like you want to, I'd really love a like and a subscribe to the pod. That'd be so cool of you. Also, I have been getting so many cool messages and questions from you guys. I was thinking, I want to answer them like publicly on the podcast, because some of these questions are really bright and thoughtful, and they're really good questions that I think they would benefit a lot of people. So, if you have a question for Strange Orphan, please email me, info@strangeorphan.com, and I would love to answer it on the pod. I'd love to hear from you guys. Yeah. Okay. Well, again, we've gotten through some of the biggies. And I'm really looking forward to 2026 being a lighter year than the shed of the snake. I'm really looking forward to hitting our stride in 2026. But yeah, thanks for being here. Thanks for stopping by, and hope you have a really good weekend. Take care.